Welcome to Chemistry Lover, and this is a new video series. This video series is designed for the students who are in BSc or preparing for the JAM exam. These videos will also help the students who are preparing for CSIR, NET, GATE and other competitive exams. So here we will cover the organic chemistry from the very basics. So this is the first lecture and this is on the bonding and the structure of organic molecules. So in this particular lecture we will cover these three topics: the valence bond theory, concept of hybridization and the orbital diagram of organic molecules. Now before going to study the organic chemistry, to know the structure of organic molecules and to have a visual idea about the structure of different organic molecules and the concerned functional group is very important, and that is the main objective of today's lecture. So chemical bonding is a very vast topic, but here we will try to keep it as simple as possible. Now if we tell organic chemistry, the first molecule or first functional group which comes in our mind is the carbonyl group, right? And the first molecule which comes in our mind is the methane. So in this video we will see the pictorial diagram or the orbital diagram of this functional group and this molecule, and also the hybridization of different atoms and how the bonds are formed in these molecules. So without further delay, let's start our today's topic. So first we will talk about valence bond theory. Valence bond theory is one of the oldest description of chemical bonding, but it is a very easy to understand way to explain any chemical bonding, and especially it is most handy tool for organic chemist to explain the reactivity of different functional groups and the bonding properties of molecules. So in valence bond theory, as the name suggests, we use the valence electrons or the valence orbitals to form the chemical bonds. So it is customary to use hydrogen molecule as the example, first example or basic example to understand the valence bond theory, how it works. So hydrogen molecule is formed by the combination of two hydrogen atoms, and if we talk about hydrogen atom, it has only one electron in it, which is on the 1s orbital of the hydrogen. So the electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1s1, which is in the 1s orbital. So how the hydrogen molecule is formed? So when we put two hydrogen atoms together, hydrogen molecule is formed. Now if we plot the energy of the system when two hydrogen molecules are bring closer, this is how the energy diagram will look like. So this is the energy axis and this is the distance between two hydrogen atoms. So at first, let's say the two hydrogens are here, and as we bring them closer, the energy of the overall system will decrease. Up to a certain point the energy will decrease and then it will suddenly increase. So this is the point where we say that a chemical bond is formed. So this distance are 0, we can say it is called the bond distance, and in this particular distance we say that the two 1s orbitals of two hydrogen atoms, they have the perfect overlap between them, and that's why we say that a chemical bond is formed between two hydrogen atoms. If we increase the distance, the bond will be broken, and if we push the atoms more closer, the energy of the system will also increase. So this is the ideal distance and this is called bond distance, and we represent it by this line structure. We call it a chemical bond, but it is nothing but the region where two 1s orbital of hydrogen atom overlaps. Now this is the simple case, two hydrogen atoms. What about a CH bond? Because in organic chemistry we will be concerned about hetero bonds like CH bond, CN bonds, CO bonds, all these things. So how these bonds are formed? The concept is similar. The bonds are formed by the overlap of the valence orbitals. So for example, if we consider a CH bond, it is formed by the valence orbital on carbon and the valence orbital of hydrogen. These two overlap to form this CH bond. So in case of a simple CH bond, we can say that the p orbital on carbon will overlap with the s orbital of hydrogen to form the CH bond. So this is the p orbital of carbon and this is the s orbital of hydrogen. For hydrogen it is 1s orbital, for carbon it is 2p orbital. Now this p may be px, py or pz because the electronic configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. so the valence shell is 2s and 2p. So this is 2s and this is 2p. So in 2p you have two electrons like this. So either of these two can overlap with 1s orbital of hydrogen atom to form the CH bond. So this is simple. Now if we extend this idea to explain the bond formation in methane molecule, let's see what happens. So in this case we have 4 CH bonds. So this 4 CH bond will be formed by the overlap of 4 orbitals on carbon with the 4 hydrogen 1s orbitals, but you can see only 3 orbitals on carbon are available for the bond formation because the 2s orbital is already filled with 2 electrons. So here what we have to do is we have to excite or we have to promote 1 electron from 2s to the 2p orbital. So if we promote 1 electron from 2s to 2p orbital, how it will look like? So now 2s orbital will have 1 electron and all these 2p orbitals will have 1 electron in each. So now all 4 orbitals are available for the bond formation with 4 hydrogen atoms, right? So all these 4 orbitals can form bonds. Now let's say 3 of the p orbitals form bond with 1s orbital of hydrogen. So 3 this kind of bond and 1 bond will be formed by the 2s orbital of by the overlap of 2s orbital on carbon and 1s orbital on hydrogen, like this. So this explanation implies that the nature of the all 4 bonds in methane will not be equal, right? Because 3 bonds are formed by the overlap of 2p orbital on carbon and 1s orbital on hydrogen, whereas the other bond is formed by the overlap of 2s orbital of carbon with the 1s orbital of hydrogen. So the nature of the bonds will be different, but the experimental evidence is that all these bonds are equal in nature. The bond angle is equal, the bond distance is equal, and all these things are equal. So how you can explain this? So definitely something else is occurring here. What is occurring here? So we can explain this bond formation by invoking the concept of hybridization. What is hybridization? So here we are considering that the bonds are forming by the overlap of pure p and pure s orbital on carbon with the s orbital on hydrogen. But what if these 3 p orbitals and this 1 s orbital, they mix with each other to form 4 new set of orbitals like this? Let's say 4 new set of orbitals are formed and each contain 1 electron. So these 4 orbitals, they are neither s nor p, rather we call them sp3 because it has s character from 1 s orbital and p character from 3 p orbital. So we call it sp3 and it is called hybrid orbital. And because it is formed by the mixture of all these 3, so they will have properties of both s and p orbital, and the nature of these all 4 orbitals are equal. All 4 sp3 hybrids will have equal nature, right? So how they will look like? They will have character of both p and s. So because of s, they will be somehow rounder in shape, not proper round nor the elongated like p, but a round shape, as well as we'll have 2 lobes like p orbitals. So it is a combination of both s character and p character, and this is how it will look like. Now these will overlap with the 1s orbital on hydrogen to form the CH bond, right? So now we can explain the bond formation. So these orbitals will be oriented. Now how they will be oriented? So the best way to orient four orbitals around a particular atom in order to minimize the repulsion with each electrons is to make them tetrahedron like this. So this is called tetrahedron structure. So this is actually how a tetrahedron looks like. So this is central atom, and the four atoms are, or four orbitals are pointed at the four corners of the tetrahedron, and now they will overlap with the hydrogen 1s orbitals. So this is the overlap of hydrogen 1s orbital with the 4 sp3 hybrids, right? So this is how the overlap will take place. Now by invoking this concept of hybridization, we can easily explain the bond formation as well as the experimental evidence that all four bonds are formed by four equivalent orbitals. So their nature will be same, they will have similar bond length, similar bond angle. And what is this bond angle? This bond angle is 109 degree 28 minutes. So this is the bond angle, this is the tetrahedral bond angle. Any compound with sp3 hybridized central atom will always have this bond angle of 109 degree, right? So this is the case of sp3 hybrid. Now let us see the molecule C2H4. What will be the hybridization of this carbon and how the bond formation will look like? What will be the orbital diagram? So this is the orbital diagram. Okay, now in this case we can divide this molecule into two components. One is CH2 and another CH2. So first we will consider the bond formation of this CH2, and then this CC are connected, right? So there are three bonds, right? There are three bonds, this CC bond, one bond, and this H, and this H, this H. So we need three hybrid orbitals to form these three bonds. Now how three hybrid orbitals can be formed? So we can always take one s orbital, so this is 2s of carbon, and two of the 2p orbitals. So if we take two of the 2p orbitals and one 2s orbital to form sp2 hybrid, then we will have three hybrid orbitals and one p orbital is uninterrupted. This p orbital is uninterrupted. Let's say pz is uninterrupted, and this sp2 hybrid is formed by the combination of 2s plus 2px plus 2py to form this sp2 hybrid. Now again, because three orbitals are involving in formation of hybrid orbitals, so three sp2 hybrids will form, because in the previous case we had four sp3 hybrids. So this is the law of conservation of orbitals. If n number of atomic orbitals are involved in the formation of hybrid orbitals, then we will get n number of hybrid orbitals. The number of orbitals will always be same. So in this case we will get 3 sp2 hybrids, and because these are formed by the combination of px and py, so the hybrids orbital will reside on the xy plane. So now this is how the bond formation will occur. So let's say this is our carbon, right? So this is the pz orbital which is unhybridized, this is the pz orbital which is unhybridized, and this is the xy plane. Let's say this is our xy plane. Okay, so here we will have one sp2 hybrid. So let me use a different color for proper understanding. So here we will have one hybrid like this, and here you will have other hybrid like this. So these and another hybrid will be here. So these are the sp2 hybrids. So three sp2 hybrid orbitals and one pure p orbital. So this is pure pz orbital. So this is for one carbon. there will be another carbon, right? So there will be another carbon over here. So for this carbon also we have this hybrid sp2, 3 lobes, and this pure p orbital. Now these hybrid orbitals, they will form bond with hydrogen 1s orbital like this. So these are the bonds, and the remaining hybrid orbital will form bond between 2 carbon atoms. So these bonds are called sigma bonds. All these bonds, they are called sigma bonds. So sigma bond is a bond which is formed by the head-on overlap between 2 orbitals. So if this kind of overlap occurs, this is called head-on overlap, and this is called sigma bond. This can be formed between 2 p orbitals, one s and one p, like this, and between 2 s orbitals also. So all these are sigma bonds because they are formed by a head-on overlap, right? Now after this, all this overlap, you can see these 2 orbitals, this pz and this pz, they remain with 1 electron in each. So now they can have a lateral overlap. So this is called lateral overlap. So 2 p orbitals, if they are parallel to one another, they can have a lateral overlap, and this is called pi bond. So here a new kind of bond is formed. This is called pi bond, and this molecule we represent like this. So first you will have one sigma bond in each. This is called sigma bond, and after sigma bond, if there is any bond, that is called pi bond. So this molecule contains pi bond, and this is the orbital diagram of the molecule. Now let us talk about C2H2. What will be the structure? So in this case we have two components, CH and CH, and there will be bond between this CC. So here we have only 2 bonds in each carbon. So that means 2 orbitals are involved. So we will have sp hybridization. So s2s orbital and let's say pz orbital, right? Let's say pz orbital. These two form hybrid, the sp hybrid. So 2 orbitals are forming the hybrid orbital. So we will get 2 hybrid orbital, 2 sp hybrid orbitals, and the other 2 p orbitals will be uninterrupted, and they are pz and py, right? So this is our carbon, and because it is the component orbital is pz, so the orbitals will be oriented along the z axis. So let's say this is one of the lobe of sp hybrid, and this is another lobe of sp hybrid, and now unhybridized p orbitals are like this. These are the unhybridized p orbital. Let's say this is py and this is px, and this one is the z axis. So there will be a similar atom, right? There will be a similar atom. There will be a similar atom like this, and here we have this carbon, sorry, we have this carbon. So yeah, so another carbon will be here. We have this sp hybrid, and here we have this px, and we have this py. So this is our sigma bond. Another 2 sigma bonds will form by the overlap of 2 hydrogen 1s orbital. So this is another sigma bond, this is another sigma bond, and now pi bonds will be formed by the overlap of these unhybridized p orbitals. So these are the pi bonds. This is one pi bond, and this is another pi bond. So this is the orbital diagram of C2H2 molecule, right? And here you have 2 pi bonds. Now what about the bond angles of this molecule? So in this case you can see the bond angle is 120 degree each. All these bond angles are 120 degree. For this molecule, the bond angle is, this molecule is linear, and bond angle is 180 degree. So the conclusion is for sp3 hybrid, the bond angle is 109 degree. For sp2 it is 120 degree, and for sp it is 180 degree. This is the bond angle, right? So this is the summary of bond angles. Now let's say you have given a molecule like this, CH3 CH2 C triple bond C CH double bond CH2, and you have to draw the orbital diagram of this molecule. So first you have to point out what are the hybridization of each carbon atom. So here all are saturated carbon, so it is sp3. Here it is sp3 because saturated carbon. Here you have triple bond, so in case of triple bond you will always have what, sp hybrid. Here also triple bond, so sp hybrid. Here double bond, so it is sp2. Here double bond, it is sp2. Now you know the hybridization, you can easily draw the molecule. So first let's start from this sp hybridized carbon. So we put this carbon over here, we put another carbon over here. So this is our, let's say, sp hybrids. This is our sp hybrids, and these are the unhybridized p orbitals. Unhybridized p orbitals, right? So this is one sigma bond. Another sigma bond will form between this carbon, this. Now this carbon will be sp2 hybridized. So this is how it will look like. It is sp2 hybridized, and here you have another carbon which is also sp2 hybridized, and it will have this orbitals like this. So here you have to do this, yeah. So here you have this yeah, so this is like this. So I use this color, let's say. These are the pure p orbitals, and these sp hybrids, sp2 hybrids, they will have bond with hydrogens. So we put hydrogen over here, and now these carbons, they are sp3 hybrids. So they are like this, sp3 hybrids. This another carbon over here, so this is also sp3 hybridized. So all this carbon will contain hydrogen on this. These are the hydrogens. So now we have to put the bonds, the designation of bonds. So these all are sigma bonds, sigma 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 sigma. This is one sigma, this is also sigma sigma sigma. All these are sigma bonds, and these are the pi bonds. These are two pi bonds. Here you have another one pi bond. So this is how the orbital diagram or pictorial diagram of the molecule will look like, right? So this is how you have to draw the pictorial diagrams. Now we understand the hybridization concept, we understand the valence bond theory, we understand the pictorial diagram. Now another interesting thing is, if you consider a molecule where you have only sigma bonds, let's say you have a molecule like this, where you have only sigma bonds. So the carbon is sp3 hybridized, and you have only sigma bond. So in this case, around this bond rotation is possible because there is no restriction. But when you have multiple bonds like this, let's say you have a situation where your carbon is sp2 hybridized, and now you have this pi bond, right? You have this pi bond. So because now you have pi bond, the rotation around this bond is not allowed. So you have this double bond over here, and that's why when you want to rotate this bond, you have to break this bond first and then you can rotate. So rotation is not allowed. So this is the difference between a sigma bond and pi bond. In case of sigma bond, the rotation is allowed, but in case of pi bond, the rotation is not allowed. This is one thing. And now the last thing which I will discuss in this video is our favorite functional group, the carbonyl functional group. What is the pictorial diagram of carbonyl? So pictorial diagram of a carbonyl group will look like same as that of a CC double bond. So in case of CC double bond, what we have a sigma bond between 2C by the sp2 hybrids, right? sp2 hybrids like this. We have this sp2 hybrids, and then we have these p orbitals unhybridized, they will overlap to form the cc bond. The similar is for the carbonyl group, but here the difference is because the electronegativity of carbon and oxygen is different, the bonds will not look similar. There will be a change in the shape. So carbon is less electronegative, oxygen is more electronegative, right? And that's why in case of carbon, what will happen? So in the periodic table also, if you see in the periodic table, what will happen in the periodic table, oxygen is at the right hand side to the carbon, right? So that means the shape of the oxygen orbital will have smaller size than that of carbon. So that means here this orbital will have smaller shape and carbon orbital will have slightly bigger shape like this, and they will overlap with each other to form the pi bond, and the sigma bond is formed by similar way like this. And another difference is, now in case of carbon, these two bonds may be formed between two hydrogen atoms and the carbon, but in case of oxygen, here you have this lone pair in this lobe because it is already filled with 2 electrons, right? So two sp2 hybrids, they will have 2 lone pairs, but in case of carbon, if these two are hydrogen, then this is a formaldehyde. This is the pictorial diagram of formaldehyde. If it is any R group, then it will be carbon. If this is any R group, then it will be carbon like this. So this is the pictorial diagram of a carbonyl group. But to explain, so this is the valence bond theory. According to the valence bond theory, this is the pictorial diagram. But to explain the actual reactivity of a carbonyl group, we need to invoke the molecular orbital theory, because then only we can explain the reactivity of a carbonyl group, and that we will discuss in the next video. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.